Welcome back to Joy TV channel, guys. Please, my people, let's listen to this news together and let me share these videos. Please and please do not forget to subscribe. Leave your comment on the comment section. So, guys, let me leave you guys to watch the video.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Issues with Jide. Here we talk about actions and inactions of those who shape our political and national landscape and how these impact us positively or otherwise. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Today on the show, presidential race. Peter Obi makes bold moves as Atiku defects again. In the course of the program, we take your questions, but first, subscribe to our YouTube channel and drop your questions in the comment section. It's important to mention that we can only read comments with human names and the ones based on the subject matter. I have Jeremy Vazum, the maestro himself, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Good to see you, BKO.
Good to see you, Brian. Good to do this with you. And I say a big thank you to our loyal viewers.
Right. Now, looking at Peter Obi and his recent, frolicking with other politicians in other parties, especially talking about coalition, etc., and some of the rhetoric he's been making on the social media, Buhari's funeral attendance or non-attendance or non-showing, etc. To kick off our conversation or discussion, how much of Peter Obi's recent antics and strategies and his high-profile campaign rhetoric can be seen as genuine leadership versus calculated political gimmicks to energize his base and outmaneuver rivals like Atiku within the coalition?
Everything that Peter Obi is doing is calculated to position him as the biggest opposition figure in our country currently. The kind of social media following and attention that he gets dwarfs the attention and the following that Atiku Abubakar gets. Obi does very well on social media, much better than most of our politicians. And this is a very big weapon in his hands to shape the narrative as we move closer and closer inevitably to the 2027 presidential race. It is a marathon, not a sprint. But Peter Obi is showing his staying power. From the time when the results of the 2023 election, the presidential election, was announced, he has stayed the course. He has remained focused. He has done his best to continually be not just in the faces of the Nigerian people, but in their consciousness and on the pages of newspapers and even on TV and on radio. He ensures that his sound bites continue to drive conversations around how our country can get better, continue to energize his base. If he had simply resigned to fate after losing the election, today no one will be talking about Peter Obi. But you can see that by his going up and down in the country, in our country, going to places where people lost their lives and all that, he's trying to show that he's a capable alternative to the current president. That is his goal, trying to get Nigerians to see him as capable of doing a good job as a president. Whether this is truly the case is not really the issue. Today, we are talking about what the moves that he's making. Every move is calculated. Every move is designed to achieve an aim. Every move that Peter Obi is making at this time is meant to show that, yes, I'm still a force to reckon with politically. I'm still the veritable alternative to the government of the, to the current president, and that he can form a government that can do a much better job of running our country. So he knows what he's doing, and like a shrewd businessman, he's making some calculated moves that I can see through some of what he's doing. I can predict with accuracy what those moves would deliver in the final analysis. Many people thought that Peter Obi would simply go gung-ho into the ADC, but he's been reluctant to defect from his party into the ADC, despite receiving an ultimatum to move into, to leave the party. And the ultimatum came from Abure and Co. that he should leave the party. This and that. But Peter Obi is not interested in putting his eggs in one basket, because once you leave that party, you move into another party. Whatever fate, and we are still a little less than 2 years away from the election. Whatever fate befalls you in your new party, people will not show sympathy. They will believe that, well, it's a decision that you took on your own, so you have to live with the consequences of that decision. He's not prepared to take that decision now. And it doesn't seem like he even wants to leave the Labour Party. Because, let's face it, Atiku Abubakar cannot spend his money bringing people together for the purpose of using a new platform to contest against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And then people will expect that he will hand over the presidential ticket of the coalition that he galvanized, of a coalition that he midwifed. It's not going to happen. Atiku, if they do a primary election today in that new party, Atiku will dominate any other presidential aspirant. And I think that reality has dawned on Monsieur Peter Obi, so he is not prepared to launch fully into the ADC. He believes that it's better he remains in the Labour Party now and continue to watch events as they go on. If it is absolutely necessary, he may launch into the ADC. But at this stage, I do not see any sign that he wants to leave the Labour Party. I think he is convinced that at some point, the Labour Party crisis will be resolved in the favor of the Nenadi Usman-led caretaker committee, which Governor Oti and himself helped to put together. So, and he believes that in the party that gave him the ticket that last time, he still retains quite a lot of support in that party. And to him, that party will best serve his interest than to go into ADC, where, as I've said before, if a primary election is held today or even next year, without a shadow of a doubt, I am certain that Atiku will clinch that presidential ticket. And the question then is, will Peter Obi be willing to play second fiddle to Atiku Abubakar? I think Peter Obi is a man who doesn't diminish himself, who doesn't see himself as inferior to anyone. The other day, I heard him saying that I'm going to contest the presidential election and I'm the best. So he's already seen himself as better than Atiku. So with this mindset, he would not want to find himself in a situation in which he's going to be contesting on the same ticket with Atiku as Atiku's deputy. So he's not prepared for that. And a lot of his supporters are saying, look, if it is the deputy, it is the vice presidential slot that Peter Obi will be given, then it's better they go and support Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's better that Bola Ahmed Tinubu continue. So many of his supporters think that, look, the South needs to spend 8 years. The same way they not spend 8 years through the late Muhammadu Buhari. So they are not going to entertain any desire to put Peter Obi on the ticket as deputy to Atiku. Don't forget, after the 2023 election, many of Peter Obi's supporters have been saying that he won that election. They've been telling themselves and trying to convince Nigerians that it was Peter Obi that won that election. And when you tell them that that couldn't have happened, that was not the case, without evidence, they will continue to insist that he won the election. So, given the way that they are thinking, they believe that a Peter Obi can defeat an Atiku in a general election. So, since they are thinking that they won the 2023 election, nobody should be surprised that Peter Obi believes that it has to be him or no one. So, whatever the platform that is going to use, Peter Obi's supporters, the obedient movement, will not tolerate giving Peter Obi the vice presidential ticket. It has to be the presidential ticket. It has to be the presidential ticket or nothing. Because, as I said earlier, they still harbor the notion that they won that election. So if they still harbor the notion that they won that last election, that they defeated Tinubu, Atiku, Kwankwaso, and others, nobody should be surprised that for 2027, they believe that the conditions are much better for Peter Obi to triumph in that election. Peter Obi, whichever way we look at it, I'm not his fan, but he's one of the very impactful political leaders of the last few years. No doubt about it. And don't forget, he changed our electoral jurisprudence forever because he went to court to challenge the victory of Chris Ngige. And the court declared that he was the rightful winner of that election. He didn't stop there. He went to the court and sought clarification about his tenure. And again, the matter was decided in his favor. That is how the idea of off-cycle elections began. Because the judiciary then ruled that he has to spend all of the time that the Constitution gives him the mandate to spend. So all of the time that Chris Ngige has spent as an illegal governor, those times were then brushed aside in inverted commas, and he began his own full 8 years. Otherwise, if somebody has spent 3 years in office illegally, having rigged an election, and you won at the Supreme Court, if it's 1 year that is left of that mandate that was stolen, it is just that 1 year that you are going to spend as a governor who had been sworn in. That is usually what happens in the National Assembly. Some of the battles for seats in the National Assembly, post-election battles, usually last more than 2 years. And people will come, just spend those last 2 years. But in the case of governors, Peter Obi successfully contested that, and ultimately he won. So was able to spend his 8 full years. And that's how the idea of off-cycle elections began in our country. Every body who wins in court after his election was rigged, everyone who wins in court gets to start afresh, gets to